what do you think are the most important supplements when it comes to performance?
Okay.
And then we'll do second important supplements when it comes to building muscle mass.
Okay. They're all pretty
similar.
They're all pretty similar.
Yeah, but I just want to, let's get your take on it.
So I'm going to do a slight variation off that if it's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So I have my supplements in tiers. So I have a first tier, which is very confident recommending these, hundreds of studies across multiple countries over decades of research.
I have a feeling I know what these are going to be. Go for it.
Creatine, caffeine, whey protein. That is your Mount Rushmore of supplements right there.
Boom.
There's just so much research data to show that, hey, these things work, right? Now, second tier would be things like, good example would be like ashwagandha.
Yeah.
Something that it's like, you know, we have studies, a couple studies showing it improves lean mass. We have studies showing it modestly increases testosterone, lowers cortisol. I just want to see it over a longer period of time across more labs and just consistency, right? But I'm pretty bullish on it. And that's why it's, you know, it's in some of my products.
Yeah.
Or it's in my recovery product. It's that rhodiola would also fit in that category. Both of those are adaptogens.
Yeah.
So adaptogens basically like help your body manage stress, essentially. Yeah. And so ashwagandha tends to be a little more on the relaxant side, whereas rhodiola tends to be more on the stimulant performance side. So ashwagandha tends to improve recovery. You see modest increases in testosterone, decreases in cortisol, and improvements in sleep. Rhodiola, you tend to see better exercise performance and cognition. So it seems to increase neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. And not only do you see improvements in like fatigue, but also perception of fatigue. And what's cool about rhodiola is you see like physical, it helps you handle physical stress better. It also, like, I think it reduces soreness as well. But psychological stress as well. So there was a clinical study where they gave rhodiola and actually saw improvements in symptoms of depression in people with mild to moderate depression. Now, I want to be very clear. I am not suggesting that rhodiola is a cure for depression or that you can stop your antidepressants if you're somebody who's on antidepressants or whatever best practices are out there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in this population, it seemed to improve those a little bit.
Yeah.
So it seems to help with physical and psychological stress. But in both of those cases, the mechanisms aren't really well understood. Now, we already talked about I'm bigger on outcomes than I am on mechanisms, right? But I do think it is important to, if something is working, we should understand why it works, right? Like we know why creatine works. We know why whey protein works. We know why caffeine works. So they're starting to get more of that research going. So I want to see more of that research before I say, you know, this is going to move up to my, you know, tier 1. And then things like citrulline, beta-alanine, betaine or trimethylglycine would be on that list.
TMG.
And, you know, people who see this may say, well, he's got a conflict of interest because all those things are in his supplements.
Well, of course you'd make supplements
because
that have the good stuff in it.
I'm like, because I take this stuff and I think that this is the stuff that works. Melatonin would be on that list as well.
Really?
Yeah. So there was actually a study where they gave melatonin. They actually saw improvements in lean mass. And interestingly, you know, my first thought was like, this is probably secondary to they're just sleeping better and recovering better and having better performance in the gym. But some people have argued that there might be a mechanism for it even outside of that.
In relationship to what? Like,
well, we're not sure, but I can't remember what it was, but somebody suggested that maybe there's like a melatonin receptor in other places. I would love to see how it affects protein metabolism. Like we have seen that, like, you know, even acute sleep deprivation can affect performance, appetite. Even a 14-day study where they had people sleep restrict. So they had people on a calorie deficit. One group was sleep restricted. I want to say it was 5.5 hours or less. Another group getting over 8 hours. The group getting over 8 hours lost almost all their weight from fat. They didn't have a difference in weight loss. The group that was sleep restricting, almost half of their weight loss was from lean mass.
What the
Yeah. So recovery is a big thing. again, this is the that it kind of boils down. People don't want to hear this stuff because it's like, tell me how I can sleep 4 hours and still get jacked as hell, Yeah. And like, listen, you can find people who sleep very little who are jacked, but the point making is they'd probably be more jacked if they got more sleep.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I do think melatonin can help. Now I will tell people like, hey, like I know for me, if I want to go to sleep at like 10:30, I'm probably taking my melatonin at like 8. And I use about 2 milligrams. That's what's in my supplement. You don't need a bunch. If I take like 5-10 milligrams, like right before I go to sleep, I am absolutely groggy the next day. Like I feel it.
It spills over, you say?
Anecdotally for me, yes.
Okay.
So I think there is something to like, kind of an optimal dose, a U-shaped curve, maybe different for different people. I know some people that will take, oh shit, there it is. I know some people that will take, I took my melatonin before I came in.
You go to bed soon?
I'm on East Coast time, baby.
Yeah.
I do know some people who can take 5, 10, even 20 milligrams and not have negative effects. And I think there is a tolerance thing that does happen. There was I want to say I read a study one time where they were giving like 100 milligrams of melatonin, and
that sounds toxic.
It wasn't toxic. But they still saw like improvements in sleep, but I would love to like see like short term how those people
But have you
felt.
ever had any weird melatonin dreams?
I very rarely dream.
Oh, really?
And they're like really basic.
Damn.
It's like
I've had like some weird ass dreams on melatonin. I couldn't imagine 100.
Every once in a while I have like a dream that it's not just like I'm running or I'm falling or doing something else. Every once in a while I'll have like a semi more complicated dream, but I just don't dream that much. Or I dream and I just don't remember it.
Yeah,
that's another thing. A lot of people do dream and just don't remember what they dreamt. So yeah, I like melatonin. Theanine, another thing that may have some good, not really necessarily a sleep aid, but kind of a relaxant and like an anti-anxiety sort of effect.
Yeah.
And there's more things I could put on that list, but it's not. I don't want to say
What about
it's
like
exhaustive.
the fish oil?
Fish oil would be on there. Yeah. Good multivitamin would probably be on there. But yeah, unfortunately, like this stuff is not sexy, right? But what I'll tell people is like, people get ho-hum about, creatine monohydrate. It's like, well, there's a reason it's cheap and it's boring because everyone makes it because it's been around forever because it works.
Yeah.
It never went out of style. Like, look at...
Do you remember when it was like a stick to everyone? Do you remember that was good?
I remember when I took it.
Oh, you take creatine? Oh, that's
16 and my parents were like, oh man.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
It is funny. And actually like there's a lot of research that suggests creatine might actually be really healthy.
Yeah. I think it's good for your brain as well.
Yeah. There's appears to be some real cognitive benefits to it.
Yeah.